Well, with just 3 days left for the monsoon session of Parliament, and India is staring at its biggest foreign policy embarrassment in recent times. The India-Bangladesh border agreement, which actually may not go through. The UPA government can't push through a constitutional amendment bill to ratify it, and it could perhaps then lose its closest and perhaps only friend in the neighbourhood right now, Dhaka. That's because regional leaders and the BJP have decided they'll not let it go through, worried that their states will lose land to Bangladesh if the agreement is okayed.
They are apparently friends, but have never met after she became Chief Minister. 2 years ago, when Manmohan Singh went to Dhaka, Mamta refused to go to protest sharing Teesta waters. Nor, it now seems, did she accept the land border agreement that Singh and Hasina inked. Trinamool's Derek O'Brien has been quoted saying, "It's not vanilla ice cream, it's the country's precious land that is at stake." Trinamool, Assam Gana Parishad and even the BJP are against the land boundary agreement for fear of one thing, loss of land. India's 111 enclaves in Bangladesh comprise about 17,000 acres of land. Bangladesh's 51 enclaves, 7,000 acres. The fear is India will lose 10,000 acres. Experts say it's only a notional loss, but no one is listening, and UPA is beginning to sound desperate.
Some parties, opposition parties, are opposed to it, and they are making some objections. Our party and our government is trying to convince them and trying to, explain to them.
The price of failing to ratify the agreement in the monsoon session of Parliament would be very high. Regional leaders will be seen to be dictating foreign policy. India will be accused of failing to honor an understanding that goes back to 1974. Hasina will lose face in her country and may suffer in upcoming general elections. That could undo her government's crackdown on Indian militants sheltering there and Islamic fundamentalists.
Manmohan Singh will have to take a decision. He will have to push through the land boundary agreement, and he will have to deliver on Teesta if he wants India to be taken seriously by anybody.
Salman Khurshid has called the Trinamool for talks, but time is running out. If narrow regional interests are allowed to prevail over the countries, then India would not only be deeply embarrassed, but the whole thing could prove extremely costly in the long run. In Kolkata, Monideepa Banerjee, NDTV.
So just how costly could this be? Joining us now on the program, we still have Mr. Shashi Tharoor with us. We also have Mr. Tarun Vijay of the BJP, India's former High Commissioner to Bangladesh, Veena Sikri, Shugata Roy, Lok Sabha MP of the TMC, and Subir Bhaumik joins us tonight from Kolkata. Let me ask Shashi Tharoor first. Any luck at all in trying to get some kind of consensus? I know it's been very difficult. Parliament has been stalled for various reasons, and there's other legislation pending as well. But what suddenly happened with the BJP? Is there any way that this logjam can be broken? This is an important agreement.
This is an extremely important agreement, and I must say that summary by your correspondent was superb. This is exactly the issue. We have land in terms of enclaves in Bangladesh, which are in fact enclaves we don't control, we don't have access to. And the Bangladeshis have enclaves in our territory, which are becoming lawless areas because no one is able to exercise meaningful sovereignty over them. The reality is the people are living on our side of the border. Similarly, our people notionally are living on the Bangladeshi side of the border. It would simply be a regularization of a reality, but with great political benefits, because you would really see that both sides would have a win-win on this. Both sides would be able to assert control over the land within their borders, which we're not able to do at the moment. And on top of that, our friend in Bangladesh, the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, would be able to go back to the public saying, look, we have managed to settle something which has been pending since Indira Gandhi came in 1974 and signed the land boundary agreement. So this is a huge situation. Conversely, if we fail to do the right thing here, we actually deliver a setback to a friend who has actually been cooperating with us on fundamental issues of national interest, including the arrest of militants on her territory,
yes,
who are actually wreaking havoc in our country. We would essentially be in a position of risking an ally losing an election which is due by the end of the year in Bangladesh. For what? For notional control over territory over which we in fact exercise no de facto control.
You're
it
saying
is an incredibly short-sighted issue.
Okay.
And what we have tried to say to the opposition is, even though elections are 8 months away, please don't think only in terms of party politics. Think in terms of what is in the national interest. It will not do anybody any good in this country.
Let me take that
if
to
a year
Mr.
or
Tarun
two from
Vijay.
now we're all beating our breasts and saying, frankly, who lost Bangladesh?
Mr. Tarun Vijay, what exactly is the BJP's position on this? Because initially we heard your party